Today is June 10th, 2022. This is episode 198 of Maelstrom Radio.
Maelstrom Radio. With your hosts, Gladys and Shitter.
And welcome everybody back to Maelstrom Radio. My name is Peter. With me as always is my good friend and co-host, Quentin.
Hi, hello.
That's the smoothest that's the smoothest hello I've ever gotten from you. 6 years doing this, you're like, hey.
I was trying.
Hey, fellas.
My throat is like, I don't know. There's something going on. Anyways, we can be nice and smooth, I guess.
Yeah. So my mom packed my lunch, and I got peanut butter and jelly, a Capri Sun, and I got Welch's FruitySnacks, and I brought them here to the show to share with everybody. With us tonight, FruitySnacks, aka Fisher Fruity.
The fish. Fishman, apparently today.
Fishman.
The Fishman. So I have to ask, though, which flavor of Welch's fruit snacks? Because we all know that they are the best fruit snack.
I like
That's
the multi-flavor, because I like to have a mix of flavors. I know there you can go like just the berry or the straw, or just like straight strawberry, I guess. Grape is an option.
The island flavors are really good. That's my personal favorite.
Island flavors are good.
On top of knowing a bunch about fish, I also know way too much about fruit snacks.
Really? Yeah. No, like that's the big, like we pulled the rug under everybody. It's like, you thought we're talking about fish? Ha! It's all about Welch's fruit snacks tonight.
It's yeah. Sorry, everyone is very pro grape, except for Chili, who's pro lemon and.
I'm like one of the few who are like pro pineapple when it comes like the
Yes!
pineapple coconut
Yeah,
flavors.
I can see it. Yeah,
I'm very pro
coconut.
those.
Thank you.
It's really good.
I agree. It is
Grape
good.
is like,
Yeah.
It's traditional. It's standard.
It is traditional. But FruitySnacks and
also
I
like
are
multi-snack.
not. Yeah, we're not traditional people. Basic.
definitely not.
Yeah. Basic grapes. we're sassy and tangy pineapples is what we are. Lime, like Skittles?
I'm gonna stay here judging you the whole episode, but anyways, not for your snack choices though. Those are good.
Oh, for the jokes?
For your jokes, yes.
Oh, well, I mean, there's one in chat that says, I have another fish joke. DJs aren't allowed to work at fish markets because they're always dropping the bass or the bass.
Bass. There you go.
The
Doesn't work.
bass.
It doesn't work when you read it out.
The bass doesn't work when you read. Jokes don't work when you read them out. Today on Maelstrom Radio,
not written jokes.
Anyway, let's get into we know what we normally do here, but what happened this week? What happened?
Nothing. This has kind of been our week off.
True.
That was
we
it.
did we did Tiny Tina, and we're almost done with Tiny Tina.
We did.
We're almost done with that.
No fish though.
No fish in Tiny Tina.
We took out the ocean a few weeks ago, so
Yeah, there's
If there's not fishing in the game, it's not a real game.
ooh, I like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I don't think we ever had a chance to fish, so
Yeah.
It's not part of the D&D 5e rule set, so probably wasn't included.
Yeah.
that seems like a very gross oversight.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked.
Fruity,
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
What'd you do this week?
It's been a long week. I mean, that's
It
really
has
about it.
been a long
It's
week.
I think everyone I've talked to, it's just like, it's been a long week.
Yeah,
I mean, really, it's just been that. I went fishing earlier, like I was saying during the pre-show. As I went fishing out at a local pond nearby, for like an hour and a half before the show.
Nice.
I was gonna
Way to
say
wrap
like
up the week.
a weird site like on YouTube. I got like a weird algorithm hit where I had nothing but like people doing like local fishing, like in like creeks and canals and like ponds and stuff like that. And they're always like catching monster fish in these like small like local areas.
I have not yet unlocked that ability. I literally did just start real life fishing probably like a couple of months ago, really, before the big season opened up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest I've caught was maybe like a 13-inch long pickerel, but those things are skinny. I mean, it was maybe 3 pounds.
I think that's bigger than anything I've actually caught in real life too.
It's one of those fish though that like I didn't know anything about it. I didn't expect to catch it, so I didn't prepare for like, oh, how do I deal with this pickerel? Which is, if you know pickerel, it's a predatorial fish. And I'm like,
tasty too.
all I know is you don't put your hands near the mouth. I didn't know why, and I went back and looked it up, and this thing has like Velcro teeth.
Oh no!
Like at the top of its mouth, and I'm really glad I didn't stick my finger in its mouth.
I see. This is why I can't fish. I'll be like, all right, let me just get my hand in there.
I can do that, but I know now which fish not to do that on. It's the ones that look like they want to eat you.
That's true.
That's fair.
I did watch. Was it like River Monsters or
with Jeremy Wade?
Yes. Like, oh my god! Like, what a great show.
The one fish behind you looks like that. The rest of them seem like you could probably put your fist near their mouth. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually. So this is in game. This is the Basilosaurus came out with Endwalker. That's roosterfish. That one I wouldn't probably put my mouth.
Yeah,
into
that one. Yeah,
no. I wouldn't put my mouth into it either.
From the name.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't put my fingers near that one's mouth either. But the rest of these, like these are all just like sunfish and betas.
Yeah, they look friendly.
Top 10 fish you'd make out with. Let's go.
Oh, I did not prepare for that.
Number 1, Mola Mole.
Neither did I, and yet I should have expected it.
You know what? I'm not gonna make my other fish joke. So Fruity Snacks, before we get into other things, we have a section of our show where we ask our guests, you know, what sort of things do they have on their desk? Their desk smalls, as we like to call them here. Like what sort of knickknacks or little trinkets that you may have sitting around your desk, and would you show them to us and describe them to people?
I can't show you all of them, but I will describe them all.
Just your favorite ones.
Imagine that my desk was a Lego store.
Okay.
Oh, I have Lego all over my desk.
That's amazing.
Like so to the point where I have a second desk. So this is like my personal desk, and then I have my work desk over there. To the point where I've had to start putting stuff on my work desk. I ran out of space on my personal desk, but I have like the big Saturn V rocket standing up in the corner, the Millennium Falcon. The mini Millennium Falcon.
Mini.
God, I have like the Tokyo Skyline. I have this one from like the early 2000s, when before Bionicle was a thing in Lego. It's not really coming through, but it was like they were doing nights. Oh gosh, like no, I have so many Legos. That's basically it. Like it is keyboard, microphone, pickup for the headphones, an editing keyboard for when I do video editing, a few other electronics, and Lego. And that's it. Nice. I love Lego as much as I love fishing in Final Fantasy XIV.
I mean, I've shown this off before, but I have a Lego hot dog.
See, I don't have a Lego hot dog. I should get one.
Yeah. It came with a one day we went to IKEA and we saw IKEA has specific IKEA Lego sets, and one of them came with a hot dog.
I didn't know that, but now I need to go to IKEA.
Yeah,
I was at Legoland a couple weeks ago, and they have Legoland exclusive sets too that had weird pieces in there.
Yeah, I think one of the IKEA kits comes with like a plate of Swedish meatballs. So
it has to.
Yeah, you know, go to IKEA and pick up Lego and Swedish meatballs. I guess that's something new. So let's get into the tiny amount of news. Well, no, no, that's there's not really any big news that happened this week. Except again, it's still Pride, of course. So happy Pride to everybody. It's there was no Monday stream this past week. I was very sleepy. I've been working a lot of overtime, and I was very tired. So, but anybody watch Summer Game Fest or the trailers or nothing?
I caught parts of it.
You caught parts of it. Anything stick out to you as interesting?
If there was, I don't remember it right now.
Right.
So nothing too exciting.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that I was like, oh, I'll watch out for that, but it wasn't like writing it down to remember for later. I think Stormgate was the RTS that was announced.
Yeah,
I'm like a really like casual RTS fan, so seeing another RTS come out, like modern day, made by the guys who did StarCraft, and various other teams, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll get into that. But when we were watching the trailer for it, my friend and I, we were like, all right, this is either an RTS or a MOBA, and I think based on the name, it could have gone either way. We didn't know until the very end.
in our chat, Chili's like, no big news. We had multiple game conferences. Susan's like, that was worded poorly. No, I intended to word it that way. It was not worded poorly. There's no big news. Because honestly, like the trailers, like there was no Elden Ring, right? Like everybody freaked out with Elden Ring last Game Fest, and I don't think there was like like shocking moment. But I did find out, speaking of RTSs, I did find out though there's a Minecraft, like it's rumored that Microsoft will unveil a Minecraft RTS. And I don't know. It's just much like how they released a Minecraft Diablo game, like Diablo style, like looter action RPG. I don't know. I'd play it. Like if I'm just Steve and I'm just like, sending out sheep to go do my bidding, then why not? Like, I'm okay with this. Anyway, so there was also new patch 6.15 content in Final Fantasy 14. Myself will jump into some of it on Monday, and I'm sure Susan will be there, and it'll be fantastic, top-notch voice acting for all to enjoy. So let's put it that way.
I've done the custom delivery, and I did Totaro's quest, and they're both very, very fun. So please look forward to it.
Good to know. I'm very good to know. I will say there was one game that did pique my interest, which is Bear and Breakfast. So I assume since they like mentioned Theme Hospital, I'm like, oh, it's not Stardew or anything. It's closer to Theme Hospital. I'm okay with that. So I want that in the weird, creepy forest they mentioned. So with that. Really why we're here is to learn about all things fish with FruitySnacks, because hint, I don't know a lot about the fish in the game.
Really?
What?
You had a whole opportunity to say that we're going to do a deep dive into fishing.
Well,
it's okay. I didn't come prepared with fish puns, so you're fine.
Neither did I, but
well, how am I? I could have used that to reel them in, but no, not good.
Yeah, you dropped the hook.
There we go. Oh.
Well,
So hello, hi. Peter's
Hi.
turned me around this time. So usually I face this way, but I'm this way today. Apparently I'm reversed.
you reversed.
But okay, so I'll face this way today. So hello, hi, welcome. Do you want
Hi.
to kind of tell people about yourself a little bit, what you do?
So I'm FruitySnacks, and apparently I've kind of become one of the. I don't want to say the fish guy because there are a lot of us who are kind of, we'll say, experts in the field. I guess.
What are you, fish? We are legion here, man.
The Council of Fishers was discussed
Yeah, it's
recently.
a school of fishermen.
But no, I'm a fisherman. I've caught every fish in the game at least once, if not twice, some far too many times to count. I am the director and curator of the Eorzean Aquarium, which launched or opened a little over a month ago on May 1st, and so about 6 weeks ago, where we have every single aquarium fish on display in a single house, spread out across 23 exhibits, all curated based on the region that they're from, and it's all decorated based on the region, and it's wild.
Even the music.
Yeah. And then I also do, I have a little YouTube channel where I do fish guides and help. Basically, I try and help people understand fishing, because there's a lot. There's a lot to fishing, but it really isn't as scary as a lot of people think it is. And I'm not just saying that; it really isn't actually as bad as people think it is.
So I did go to the aquarium, and I was truly impressed by how much work and detail went into it. But not only it wasn't just what I might have thought I was gonna walk in and just see a bunch of fish, but it was themed to every zone, and I appreciate how much detail and time went into the aquarium.
That was something that we really wanted to achieve when we were when I initially joked about the creation of the aquarium. This actually started as a bit of a joke.
As all good projects do.
Yeah, same here.
Basically, it started as a joke. So the history, I guess the history of the aquarium in a nutshell is in mid-March, I was looking to make a venue for fishers, specifically just to come and hang out, not an RP venue, a central place that people could come, talk about fish, help about fish. I was planning on giving out all the bait and gear. I'm known for handing out best in slot gear to new fishers if they can't afford it. I have nothing else to do with my gill. And I was doing research on all these venues, and one day I was like, you could bypass the tank limitation, because houses, apartments all have limitations on tanks. It's a 4 for apartments, 10 for large. You could bypass that if you had an FC house with FC rooms. And before I could say, I'm not sure if I'm really ready to commit the time to do this, probably about 13 people had already made alts on Marlboro to start putting this together. Before I could even, before the project had started, before I had even officially started it.
Everyone just kind of jumped on the idea and was like, "This is happening now."
It's one of those. It was one of those that's a really good idea, and whether or not you like it, it's going to happen. And so we kind of just started building out from there. And one of the main goals was we really wanted to differentiate from other venues that people have, and have that level of detail and immersion of if you're in the Lenosha exhibit, if you're at a real aquarium, in the real world, and you're looking at fish from Asia, it's going to usually be Asian themed. There's going to be bamboo, going to be that environment is going to feel very Asian. Right. And so I was like, well, let's just replicate that. And so we started doing that, and initially it was 21 people. We literally hot added the 22nd room the night we were launching, like the night we were opening, because it just got so big. The guy was like, I'm doing this now. And then a week later we added the touch tank, which was highly requested, so we expedited that out. And that took 28 days. Whole thing from idea to opening day was 28 days. Which was
28 days later, fish.
Basically, it was ridiculous because we were like, it was every day. I would finish work, log in, like, all right, what's going on? Where are we at? Who needs stuff? I was fun. A lot of the funding came from me initially, and then we started picking up other people who started donating, and just through donations, we were able to recoup everything within a day.
Wow. That's a pretty good community.
Yeah. So now we kind of have an idea of like where the aquarium started, but where did your humble beginnings how did you stumble into Final Fantasy 14 out of love for Final Fantasy? Was it just like you had a friend and they're like, hey, try this? Or was it just like, I heard this game's got really good fishing?
So it was a friend of mine. I had just finished working on an update for a game. I did game development for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she was playing this game. She says, hey, you just finished Crunch. You need some time to relax. Come and play Final Fantasy 14. And it was like the starter edition. It was free or something like that. I don't remember the full story behind it, but I think it was right after Heaven's Word launch or like right before. And she was like, hey, come play. And so I made a derpy little Olafel and started making and just started playing around the world and really started to enjoy it, and then stopped because I was playing some other games and other stuff happened, and then picked it up again. And that's when I started really playing it more seriously and started fishing. And I was like, oh, fishing's always been fun and relaxing. Why don't we try it out here? And I really just started doing casual fishing. I wasn't even doing big fishing. And then one day I was running through Gdania, and this little Lalafell, I should point out I wasn't a Lalafell anymore at that time. But, sorry, I'm a bun boy now.
Me too.
But
the Lalafell, the bun boy pipeline, anyways.
I was an Eorzean in there somewhere. I realized that I really like characters that are tall, lanky, and have long ears. Don't know why. Just that seems to be what it is. Anyways, this little Lalafell was teaching someone how to catch the fish Bloody Brewer, which is right underneath the water. It's in that little pond next to the Adder's Nest, and underneath the Aetheryte in whatever that one is, New Gridania? Is that where the Aetheryte is?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is fun, and someone's telling me how to do it. I just grabbed my stuff, went in, and I caught the fish. I'm like, oh, that was easy. Okay. And so I was like, I will finish the log for all the major cities. A few days later, I had finished all of that. All right, time to pick a region. Started in on the regions. And then somebody was like, I was big fishing, and one morning someone's like, hey, Ruby Dragon is up. And I'll say Ruby Dragon, and all the fishers in this will just like curdle and like hiss like cats. It is considered the hardest fish in the game to catch. One of the rarest. If it isn't the hardest, it's the rarest. And the guy was like, yeah, it's up. I'm like, cool, how do I catch it? And showed up to the window, caught it first try. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Might as well finish it. And about that time, the Ishgard rankings were starting. And so I started doing the Ishgard rankings for fishing. And by day 2, I was rank 1 and stayed there for the remainder of the season. I came in rank 10 on the second season. And from there, it just snowballed into just, okay, I guess this is my thing now. And it's been fun. Like the community around fishing is absolutely amazing. Extremely supportive. I mean,
except all the ones in chat here who currently hate you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that's my staff too. So hi guys. But it's just they're extremely supportive because everybody understands that fishing is a pain in the butt. It is. Everyone understands that like fishing is, there's a lot to it. When you look at it and you're like, oh, I really want that really shiny rod, and then you're like, oh, you have to go catch 1,100 fish to get it. Like you kind of, everyone's eyes just kind of glass over.
That's a lot.
It's just it is a lot. So everyone's very understanding, very welcoming with that, and I absolutely loved that. I don't think I would have gotten as far into fishing as I have if it wasn't for that community.
That's like it's also taken you what Heaven's Word was. Jeez, it's like 8 to 10 years now to kind of get to this point.
I should say, but it was also like the time scale on that's a little weird. I didn't seriously start, like I did casual fishing. I actually, botanist was my first gatherer in Shadowbringers was my first one to 80. And I didn't really start seriously fishing until like October of 2019. And I had caught every fish in the game by that June or July.
Oh wow!
The following month, and then I just
kind of do the whole fishing log in like a few months.
Yeah, I think the record is one guy. I didn't see the numbers on it, but he claims that he was able to catch all 204 big fish to get the Grandmaster Caster title in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Which is ridiculously lucky.
Yeah.
Not only for windows to align that well, but for also fish to actually bite. Because there are some of those, like Ruby Dragon, where it has taken people 13 plus months to catch.
That seems so.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll stick with the casual side. That is my number one job, like non-combat job, though, for sure.
It's ridiculous. Like I can start naming off some fun little stats here about.
Like it takes less time to clear an ultimate.
Yeah, so I double checked the stats because I figured this was going to come up either by my own or from you guys. The longest it took to discover a fish, because when new fish are added, we don't know where they are. Like we don't know anything about them except roughly the fishing hole that they're in, and whether or not they have like a weather or a time requirement, both in many cases. That's it. We know their names. So whenever a new fish comes out, especially around expansions or around major patches, they add new fish. And so that's when we do something that we call the discovery period. And it's this huge community undertaking where basically we know, okay, like we'll know and we'll look at a fish like, say, Cinder Surprise. That's it's a egg looking fish in Amarang. It has a little dragon's eye. It's probably one of the biggest banes now of Fisher's history. That one has a time requirement and it has a weather requirement, which means it can only be caught during a certain time period, during a certain weather, or during a certain weather after a certain other weather. So so the preceding weather has to be a certain thing too. And I think in the end there was a potential of like 1,500 different combinations that we had to test to find this fish. And that took, if Kyoto is watching, he'll probably tell me what the number is. But that took about 10 days to find before the first bite. And it wasn't even a successful bite. We just got the bite. And it took like another day or so for the next window to come up for us to actually get it. The longest it took to find a single fish was 45 days.
Wow.
Over a month.
That's pretty long. Yeah.
Over a month to find a fish, and that fish was in Heaven's Ward, which was called Bobgoblin Bass. And it is one of the lower uptime it has one of the rarest combinations of weather that you can get, because the Dravanian hinterlands stinks when it comes to weather.
I can
yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, it's one of those fish where it's like it has to be like showers into rain during a specific time period, and that's how a lot of the that's how a lot of fish difficulty is determined, is based on its conditions. So if it's just like a weather requirement, it's going to be up for 23 minutes in real life time. That's how long the weather window is, or longer if it doesn't have like a preceding weather. With some of the rarer fish, like some of the the very last set of big fish added in the game are always the legendary fish. They're always the hardest. Some will have you have to catch a certain number of a certain fish to get a buff that allows you to catch that big fish, but you can only catch that big fish during weather after a preceding weather during a very specific time frame. And so it leads to being like it has like 0% uptime when you calculate it, because it's only up for like 20 minutes every 10 days. There's some fish that are only up for 90 seconds every like week or two. That's new. That's actually a new behavior that we've seen in fish. They have never added a fish that was only a half hour of window to catch.
I like the idea that someone out there on the development team was like, what if we only made a fish spawn every 90 seconds?
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. 'Cause it's every year, like every expansion, they have to kind of change things up a little bit, because we kind of figure out the fish. We kind of have to. Like we can read these fish like a book now, and you have to really
tip the scales.
You have to tip the scales. That particular fish was called Iliad Scan in Ilmeg, and it is up.
I've been chatting about that one.
Yeah, it is only up from 11:30 p.m. to midnight in clear skies after a thunderstorm in Ilmeg. And that happens maybe once every 10 days or something like that. Like if it happens, you get 2 windows in a week, it's a good week.
Oh, so
there's a lot.
So
you wonder if the dev team even does any like calculations for that, or they just come up with a whole bunch of conditions and they're like, yeah, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like they have to be like, it'll happen.
I think somebody found a weather combination in Garlemald that when they found it in January, it had a 110-day downtime between when it happened.
Wow.
Like it would, like you had 3 months before it could come in. It is highly unlikely that we will get a fish that follows in that weather, that specific thing, because
for now.
I mean, you say that.
Love it. I would love it because I am a masochist when it comes to these things. But
and you think someone on that team isn't?
Oh no, we know they are.
I mean, they definitely could, but you have to find like there's people who complain about. I mean, like, and I say complain like I'm like they're wrong. They're not wrong. It's a valid complaint that a lot of these fish really are kind of brutal if you only can play for like 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the luxury of working from home or having a job where they can step away for 10 minutes, 20 minutes to go catch a fish in Eorzea. And so they have, Square Enix has been making strides to kind of make that a little bit easier. And we saw that in like the last expansion with some of the fish that came out. They were, I don't want to say boring, but they weren't super duper exciting compared to like Stormblood. Stormblood has, well, the Ruby Dragon, which is, like I said, considered one of the rarest fish in the game. And Warden of the Seven Hues, the rainbow fish, that everyone loves. It has a lot of interesting fish. And Heaven's Ward is considered like the worst in terms of difficulty. Like that is like the 7th ring of hell in fish form. Bad. But they've gotten progressively easier, and I don't want to say easier, less brutal, a little bit more forgiving.
More
since
forgiving.
then. And I think with Shadowbringers they went a little bit too far into the too easy part, so I'm hoping they kind of tone it back a little bit for Endwalker. But that's like insider. That's like insider baseball there.
If so, with everything that you've experienced with fishing, do you think, like in the future of the game, like not anytime during this expansion, but maybe next expansion or the one after that, is there anything they could do to change fishing, or something you'd like to see make a change in fishing that could be still add that maybe difficulty level back into fishing, but maybe still make it easier for people that may not have the time to do, like, oh, I have a 10-minute window to do this weather thing, but it's at 3 a.m. and I need to sleep for work. So it's like,
I think so. There was a skill. Well, I say was as if it doesn't exist anymore, but it technically does. Fish eyes is this skill that before patch 5.2 or 5.3, you would have to use it to get a buff to be able to catch the fish, and it was basically a GP drain to catch the fish. So that made it a little bit harder because you had to be a little bit more careful with your GP management, basically. And fish eyes led to, honestly, like some of the most fun that I've had fishing, because you spend so much time, you're like, okay, I can do this now, but oh, should I use this skill now? No, I need to save the GP for later if I get this. There's a lot of thought behind it. And then they changed it to what it is now, where you can use it to catch fish without a time requirement. You still have to have the weather requirement, but not the time requirement. So I think to make things a little easier, if they continue to expand on what Fish Eyes is, which they have been doing, where it only works on fish from A Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, and Stormblood areas. I think if they keep working with that, we'll see it be a really good catch-up fish, like a good catch-up like a good catch-up mechanic for people who want to do big fishing. But if they could bring back that old GP sync, I think that could lead to a lot of really interesting things that they could do with fishing. Especially now as Fisher's GP pool has broken 1,000. Like we have over 1,000. We can get over 1,000 GP now, which the other Disciples of Lands can't get. Take that, Botany and Minor.
Have they ever done, because I don't know, have they ever done a thing where you've caught a fish in one pool of water, and it could be in the same zone, it doesn't be like different zones, but in the same zone where in one stream you caught a specific fish, got a buff, and then traveled to a different pool of water in that same zone and had to catch another fish based on that buff?
So we actually know for a fact that the game is not coded to allow that.
Oh.
Yeah, so one of the mechanics for fishing is Fisher's intuition, or Fisherman's intuition, where if you catch a certain number of a certain type of fish, you get a buff of a variable length, allows you to catch a fish that is basically requiring that. Warden of the Seven Hues, the rainbow fish, that is an intuition fish. You have to catch 11 total fish to get the buff that lasts for like 2.5 minutes to get the chance to catch Warden. We know that if you get the intuition buff and it is active, or you're trying to progress your way to it, like maybe you need to catch 10 of a certain fish and you've caught 5. If you get up and go cast into another stream, it either removes the buff if you have it, or resets your progress towards it. So you can't. So currently, unless they change the code of the game, we can't have cross-hole fish. And the only way that would also work is if it was intuition. You get an intuition buff in one, and then you have to go catch it in another. Doesn't work.
Oh, come on, Square. Let's cross holes. Don't Don't take that out of context. There's nothing wrong.
Not that kind of stream.
Yeah, it's not that.
Anytime, as soon as it was said, all I could see is Susan going to the document, typing a little cross-hole fishing.
Yep. So with that, like you touched on the diadem fishing. Now, is there something about diadem fishing that you really liked? Was there something about it you would like to see brought back, or in the terms of like the future of like maybe a future housing thing, or if we rebuild Garlemald or whatever, like, is that something you'd like to see brought back in a different form?
Player me would love to see the rankings come back, because I think it was really fun to have competitive fishing. Physically, I cannot take another ranking season. Like the third season, I was just like, my body cannot take this. It was 12 hours a day of fishing.
That sounds right. Yeah, I remember when Chili did it. Chili was just like at the end of streams, just like, hi.
And it just got progressively worse. Like, it was like, I think rank 1 for me was 500k on my server, and rank 3 or season 3 for rank 1 was like 1.4 million or something like that. It jumped because fishing is by and far the highest way to get, like, the quickest way to get scripts and the quickest way to get points.
Also the most fun.
But I really liked the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoyed that leaderboard thing. So I think what I would love to see is if they did that for ocean fishing. They have the points, and they have at the end, they have the leaderboard saying, hey, here's the top 10 people. I think it would be really cool if they track that on a server or a data center or even a world level, and had kind of like how they're doing with PvP seasons, have an ocean fishing ocean fishing season. Words are hard. I think that would be really fun. I think like that would get more people into ocean fishing than just to level, because it is by and far the fastest way to get white scripts and to level. And I think it would, like, there's a lot of actual, like, legitimate skill and knowledge that can give you an advantage in that. And I'm saying that knowing that the guy who I think holds the world record is listening to this right now. So you're welcome.
I know in World of Warcraft that on Sunday in Stranglethorn Vale, there's a Stranglethorn fishing tournament every Sunday, which was a lot of fun. Like, especially if you liked fishing in WoW, which, it gave you something to do. It wasn't as in depth as it is in Final Fantasy 14, but it was something interesting that I never really saw in another MMO, and I would love to see like what Square could do with that, or what Yoshi P could like really bring to the dev team and say, well, like, what if we did like a fishing tournament like every other week, or like once a month there's like a big fishing tournament in Limsa or on the fishing boat, or like, people queue for it, and like there's a ranking system, and you might have to like go a couple trips or whatever. And I think it would be great. Like, it could unlock like special fishing gear and stuff like that. Everybody can participate. Like, it could be a lot of fun.
And it's really hard to bot. Like, you can't do like that. Square Enix, if you're watching legally, I am speaking about this as a way of not condoning it, and I never would. But like, occasionally we have found bots on the ocean fishing thing. Like, there's a lot of botting that's happening in fishing right now, especially around in the Diadem and white script farms. We haven't figured out why they're farming white scripts, but they are. Just don't know why. It's just it's really good. It's a really good farm, but
is it something you could do to flip to sell something for Gil?
We think it's materia. Yeah. We're thinking materia. And sand, because you can get Tide, Aether Sand, I think, with white script.
Yeah,
or any of the sands. Yeah. So either way, it's a gill farming scheme, which sucks. It really does suck because it really makes fishing look bad.
Mm-hmm.
But with ocean fishing, you can bot in ocean fishing, and your score still stinks. I mean, it's good. I mean, you could have pretty decent score bot. I have seen it, I should say. I am not speaking from experience here. I do not do that. But we have found people who do. We have seen people who do bot in ocean fishing. We have seen their scores, and they're not they're okay. You can do better if you're thinking about it, just a little bit.
Get wrecked.
And so I think that would be really fun. Is if you can just do the rankings, and then you get a triple triad card or something like that. That's the other grind.
I would think adding a special fisherman's outfit with pole, a special outfit fishing outfit with a pole, because glamour's the true end game as always. Yeah,
I think it would be I would probably do a currency. Every win gets if you come in first, second, and third, gets you 5, 4, 3, and then 2 if you're in the top 5, and nothing if you're out of that because you're a scrub. I think, and then make it based on that. I think that would be really fun because then that would keep you going. It doesn't take that long. It's fishing. The ocean fishing trip, once you get in there, takes 25 minutes. It's it's not that long. You do it once, you rank up. Do it like the triple triad tournaments. You just do it. You do it for a week, and then you don't do it for a week. Then you do it for a week, and then you don't. They have the systems in place. They just have to add it for ocean fishing.
Ocean fishing's the new gold saucer event.
What if it's the worst glamour?
I mean, it's all gambling in the end. So,
the worst glamour. What if it is a really fun system, but then they put the worst glamour to it? It was White Boy Summer. It's shorts with little anchors on them and topside Sperry's.
People would go for it.
You're right. People would still go for it.
I would wear it just to be look, I'm better at fishing. I did it. I did it.
I did it. I fished my way to some topside Sperry's.
I slaved through this. It's mine. But I think with ocean fishing, they could do a lot. I think I don't know, the restoration of Garlemald. If that is a thing, I probably expect it in 8.0 or 9.0.
Oh yeah, no, that's what will happen for sure.
Base fish.
Oh, actually, you know how you'd get people to do ocean fishing for that is if you make an at level spearfishing jig be the reward from it.
Yeah,
we currently don't
have anything.
So we don't. We get one offhand at level 61, and that is our best in slot offhand forever.
It hurts. That I dislike that so much. It bothers me that there's
you don't even
one.
Fish.
No, I do though, and I have, and I even the changes to spearfishing were so good. I actively loved the changes to spearfishing. What bothers me is that I cannot replace that gig.
Yeah, I think I made the joke. It was you go through and it's botanist eye level 560, minor minor eye level 560, Fisher 373.
Yeah, and that's what bothers me about it. It's it hurts. Why? Why?
Not 3. It's 528.
Oh, it's so bad. Just give us a new one. Why? It's beneficial for us because it is a huge chunk of GP, which is why we're able to break over 1,000 now. I think we can hit 1050. Do full GP melds plus food. You can do over 1,000, which is really, really good for ocean fishing, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to complete all this ocean fishing quests and then run, get a shark. I felt so good. I was like, I did it.
Yeah, the aquarium last week. It's been a long week.
Yes.
We did an ocean fishing shark event, the Sharkapalooza, and we invited everyone to the aquarium. We gave them bait, gave them the cordials, we gave them the food and then we put them into parties and we told them, here's what you need to do specifically in each zone to be able to get the most points so that you have a chance at the Shark Mountain. And I think on top of almost breaking our house, we hit the housing cap in our small, and we learned that we greatly underestimated the amount of people who were going to show up. Ran out of bait twice, and we started with 8,000 of each one.
It's like,
and so it got nuts.
I want to be there when someone's like, "We need more worms."
Basically, what it was. Okay, we need more plump worm. I'm like, crap. Yeah. So like we just did that with the Shark Mount thing last week. That was kind of the response that a lot of people who were like, it was either like, oh my god, I finally got it, thank you so much, or I was this close, but now I know I can. And I've actually been getting tweets in this past week. I think maybe 2 or 3, 4 people or so will either tweeted at me or added me on Discord saying, hey, thanks to your event, I have been able to get this mount. Like, thank you.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, cool. It was worth it. And we will be doing those again. I don't know at what cadence, because that was a lot to handle. I think numbers wise, we handed out over probably close to 50,000 pieces of bait, 1,000 cordials. There was 168 people who came in across 2 voyages. So I don't know at what cadence, but we will be doing those again, for sure, at the aquarium. We learned a lot about figuring it out.
Yeah, after you do that first time, the logistics become a lot easier the second time you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually talking about expanding. We tried to get a large, and we had 26 of 51 bids on a large, and we lost. The winning and I mean, like, it was fair. That, like, I wasn't planning on going for the large, but we were like, it's a perfect spot. It'll probably be the best chance we can. One of our staff members is like Tataru at getting money, and suddenly somehow came up with like, he's like, all right, I'm donating another 240 million for this. Like, just
we have one of those. Yeah, we get it.
We have to give it back when we're done, but we can use it for now, type of thing. And we had entries 23 and 25, and the winning entry was 24.
So close.
Right. And so we didn't get the large, but we did pick up a small in the same ward that the aquarium is in now. And I think today we were talking about what we want to do with it, and one of the ideas is making a specific event center. Specifically to hold these events, because if this is the number of people that we're going to be pulling in, we can't be constantly rearranging
the fishing charter. The fishing charter.
Yeah. So we have another house in the same one. Yeah, Sea Lab. Specifically, somebody was looking for Ward 20 Plot 20, so we could have Sea Lab 2020.
I was hoping for 2021.
No, we didn't get that. So we have 2 smalls in Ward 16, the subdivision, and we'll probably convert that second one into it'll be aquarium based. Like, we have decided we are doing. We had to. It's amazing that we've had this discussion, because I would never have thought that we would have been like a month ago. Is we're already planning, like, we already know what we're going to be doing for the next 6 months, like, in terms of events, in terms of exhibits. We're starting to talk about a new museum, completely basically doing it all over again for another thing not related to fishing. We're scoping out potentially setting up an aquarium on the EU data center, so that our friends over in the EU can enjoy that. And we're doing that. And I should point out, we're not necessarily doing that. Actually, I should say this is the perfect example of why fishers are ridiculous. We're not necessarily doing that because we want like the Europeans to feel included in this, because just make an alt, come on over, guys. It's because we want to. We just want to walk through hell again. So
wasn't hard enough the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it only took us 28 days, and we already had the blueprints. Like all the hard stuff's done. So like we're already starting to talk about like what are we going to do with this newfound I don't want to say like fame, because that's not really it, but like prominence,
recognition.
Like there has been so many times I will walk through Limsa and someone will wave at me and be like, "Hey, Fishman, that happened to me today." And it's like, okay, let's do this, and my fish empire will grow on the body of fish. But it's like, it's kind of grown from this idea of just having a little lounge for fishers to hang out in, and growing into this, like, we're talking about like a network of museums now, of like, what are museums that we could kind of based around the aquarium style, we could replicate that experience for other things. And that's kind of what we're starting to scope out in a way, and see, is that even possible? And the answer will probably be, I don't know, let's go find out.
Let's just do it anyways.
Yeah,
just do it anyways, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, and it's really, it's been really fun just kind of doing all this, of just like waking up and checking your DMs overnight. You're like, "Hey, Fruity, I had this idea." And I'm like, "That's a great idea. We'll slate it for early next year."
It's too many projects.
Yeah, God. But like, yeah, no, like we have a lot. I'll just leave it at that. We have a ton.
And that's on top of the events you're already holding all the time, right? Like you have a lot of events going on.
Yeah, we had the shark event last week. We have the Warden of the Seven Hues Pride celebration on the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably do something for Moonfire Fair. We're submitting some stuff for LunarCon. So I hope we can do stuff with LunarCon. I have stuff all planned out until All Saints Wake, like this October. Now, and for All Saints Wake, and that's only because I really wanted to make a pun.
Spooky.
That was actually the first event that I planned before any of the other ones. Before the aquarium even opened, I'm like, all right, we're doing a Halloween event called All Tanks Wake.
Yep.
And that's it. All I have so far.
Yeah.
But we're doing it. We're calling it All Tanks Wake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it. Nothing but spooky fish in a haunted house.
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on, and it's kind of now my dream and goal to have a network of museums and or cultural venues, to kind of offset the balance of clubs and lounges and stuff. Not that they're bad. They have a place. I don't hate them. But also, like, it gets
Something
a little tiring.
Yeah.
It's something different. And we've had people come in who are like, hey, we came here on our honeymoon after they got married in game. I hope, at least. It was your real honeymoon. One, I'm extremely honored. Two,
No, I agree with you. This game needs less dance clubs and more culture, honestly.
Yeah, so like some of the ideas of museums, like we were talking about, like an art museum. Somebody suggested a fashion museum at one point. Natural history museum. And all of these are like, we could totally do these.
Yeah.
But we're actually limited because, like, the Natural History Museum, I would be all over. But there's an issue. There's not a lot of indoor decorations that are rocks.
Yeah.
Really not.
So we're actually limited to what the game can provide us. So I'm hoping that as maybe through 6.0, and I'm hoping Square Enix saw this aquarium and they kind of go, okay, maybe this is something we can kind of poke at and do. But yeah, I think I kind of just walked a couple of circles around whatever we were originally talking about that, but it's kind of like the big thing though is
when they give miners the ability to like take geodes and make them like housing items.
Yeah, I think we have kind of cracked this market in a way. If we're talking like business terms, we have found an untapped market of things that we can now do, of just possibilities within the game. And if somebody else isn't going to do it, I am.
Yeah,
like
no, you should.
Yeah, I will see these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's fun. I find it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, I know we're close on time, but I have a couple more questions for you. You kept saying we through all of this, so I want to know what kind of team you're working with, like how many people. Did you meet on some seedy like Square Enix back alley fish forum? Like
that's just RFC.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the initial team at launch was about 20 or so people, including myself. And they were almost all from the Fisherman's Horizon Discord, aka the Fishcord. And that's initially where the idea got started. And as somebody in the comments pointed out, as I was bullied into doing it, that's where it got started. And we met up with this one community that somebody in the Fishcord was like really good friends with the owner of, or like one of the leads of this housing community. And so we partnered with them at a house, and within like 3 hours, within 3 hours of me going, okay, let's do this, we had a house. We had like 10 volunteers already going with alts. We already had like 2 or 3 rooms going. We had an idea of what we were going to be doing. So a lot of these volunteers are either housing enthusiasts or fishers. Most are fishers. And since then, we have grown just since launching. People are like, I want to help. I'm like, cool. Can you make an alt? Sure. Okay. And that's how we've been doing it. So I think we're up to 30 or so people now. And we have our own Discord. Like we have our own, like the Eorzean Aquarium has its own Discord now that we operate out of. So like all the planning is happening there. All the discussions about future projects, all that stuff is all in that Discord. And I think we're at like 30 people now. I have to look.
Pretty good sized team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all over too. It's not just Crystal. 31. It's not just Crystal. We've had, I think, Light, Aether, and Primal on top of Crystal are all represented. Maybe Materia too. Kyrie, tell me if I'm right or wrong. So like we have people from all over the world who are contributing to this and continue to contribute to this. And we've started seeing people like on other data centers who have been like, hey, this is really cool. How can I help, from like Europe or Tonberry or something like that? And so we're starting to figure out how we can bring those people in as well.
Cool.
And eventually worldwide fish domination.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is there's like, when you look at a game, you're always like, all right, these are all the major points in a game. When you look at just like the fishing timeline, ocean fishing was a big change. Like that brought a lot more people into fishing, made it easier to access. And I feel like kind of tooting my own horn here. I feel like the Eorzean Aquarium in itself has kind of become its own little inflection point. A lot more people are now seeing. It's not just leveling. It's like they're now able to visually see fish. Like they're able to see the result of it. They're able to see all 183 species of aquarium fish. There's people who come into the aquarium and are like, I had no idea this fish existed. What is this fish? How can I catch it? And we will happily tell you what it is and how to catch it. We'll probably even give you bait if we have it. Like it's basically been this big thing where a lot of people are now going fishing. People are going for their shark mouth. They're doing ocean fishing. I think that is absolutely amazing because, like I said at the start, the fishing community is amazing. They're extremely understanding because everybody has to wade through the same cesspool of fish, aether chemical pool, if we want to get lore friendly. Here of just it, yes, and then and so the more people who can experience it, in my mind, the better.
Cool. I have one last.
It's definitely
question.
brought a resurgence of interest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I will keep up that interest, whether people like it or not.
You have to fight Square for 3 different things. You have to make sure that they, 1, give you more fish and more exciting fish to catch. 2, more housing options to help display your fish and other interests. And 3, glamours to go along with it because you need to look good.
There is a tier 5 tank in game now. Because the fish tanks come in 4 sizes: tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. It can depend on the size of fish and the number of fish they can hold. Tier 5, at least it looks like 5. The tier 5 aquarium is in the studium, and you actually see it during the studium quest. Square Enix, if you're watching that, if you could just add that in and make it like a 10-point fit, like a 10-point tank, that would be great.
It's true. I've done that quest. So you do see it. It's a very large.
Yeah.
It's a great tank.
It's a great quest.
It is.
Oh, let's fish lore. Completely other topic.
Yeah.
But that quest was great for fish lore.
It really is. It's solid. So I have one last question. It was in chat earlier, but it was from Sarah, who said, I was looking at Fruity's old videos since I still need Heaven's Word fish. And the videos note that info is dated. Is there any way to convert the instructions, or do I need to wait for an update?
So, for my guide specifically, if it is active on my channel, it still works. I will take down guides if they don't work at all. I had 2 or 3 spearfishing guides that you can no longer access once 6.0 came out. I only want to have information that works. Like, you have to be able to use it. The reason that a lot of those are marked legacy is because that they were recorded and written based around level 80. But we're level 90 now. We have like a new suite of tools that we can use. And it did radically change how some fish, how you would approach catching some big fish. I should point out that when I usually talk about fish this entire time, I'm talking typically about big fish, of which there's 248 now or something like that, 250 something. The other 1100, 1200 fish rarely have anything special tied to them. They just show up and cast out a little bit and you'll get them. But anyways, so you can still use those guides. They're based around level 80. If there's an update to it, if it says legacy and there's an update that warrants it, I've usually added the update as either a pinned comment or a description in the comments, because it's still a valid method, so I don't pull it down. And then just wait until I recatch the fish and then re-record it and re-edit it. That is my plan, to eventually update at least the major fish like ruby dragon, Stethocanthus, even Warden has new methods now for catching. So, yeah, that's that.
Awesome. Well, Fruity,
Mm.
can you let people know where they can find you across all your socials and
Oh, that's right.
content creation places?
I have to do that now.
We did prep you.
That was such a good transition, and I just dropped it. I floundered. So you can find me on YouTube at FruitySnacks, or it's like /C/FruitySnacks.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on Twitter at FisherFruity, and you can find me basically in the Fishcord, which is discord.gg/fishcord, FISHCORD. Or if you yell really, really loud, I might be able to hear you if you're in like the New York area.
Wrong coast. It's the better coast, but
I'm lost in the Midwest.
I'll accept the Midwest. Midwest is okay.
Yeah.
But I think that, and then obviously go and check out the Eorzean Aquarium. It's in Lavender Beds on Marlborough, Ward 16, Plot 59. It's a small house. It's just a small house with like 23 rooms in the back. It's hard to miss. Mm-hmm. We're open all the time. There's no hours. There's no entry fee. I think that's dumb.
Lots of guest books, though.
Yeah. Oh god. Opening night, we had to empty the guest book hourly.
I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. We had about 1,000 people through, I think, in the first 24 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. It was extreme. Kind of woke up the next morning and the team was kind of sitting in like, it was like at the end of the Avengers with the shawarma shop. They're all just sitting there going, "What just happened?" But yeah, that's another story. Yeah. So Twitter, YouTube, Eorzean Aquarium. I think that's it.
Well,
I've also been told that the Sandbar is open tomorrow night at from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're RP inclined, we aren't an RP venue, but we have RP events. That would be the Sandbar, serving food, come out, hang out, role play with your date or your enemy. I don't care. From 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We cross swordfish at dawn.
I think there's a pistol fish too. So no, it's Flint Strike. That's the one I'm thinking of. So yeah, come out
enough.
Tomorrow. It's about 24 hours from now. It'll be open.
Sounds good.
And you get to see all the wonderful fish behind me.
Ooh. Which I've gone and seen, and it's good. You should go.
Moving though, they're more alive.
Yeah, they're not static. They're actually moving.
I tried doing a GIF and I couldn't get it under 10 and look good. So
that of course the last question is Fruity. Do you want to come back on the show and in the future and discuss more fish and fish lore maybe?
If you'll have me, I will happily come back.
Yeah, of course.
We got the whole fish lore thing. If you're on my Twitter, look up my whole spiel about how the seventh someone made a joke about the Baja Blast in the seventh Umbral Calamity affected the trout population, and it is in fact canonical that the trout population of Eorzea was affected by the seventh Umbral Calamity because of one fish. And I walk through that entire thing. If you want to get some fish lore in, go check that out. If not, I will happily come back and talk about the weird things Alex did.
I constantly now hear fish lore, and I keep wanting to call it just floor for short.
That's
no. Okay, good. All right. Well, gonna get out of this, I guess, with letting you know that game streams are on Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays, times and specifics on Twitter and Discord. Episode 199 of our podcast is happening on Friday, June 17th, live from the Crystal Data Center, with guests former Maelstrom radio producer Dylan Thorne and our co-organizer Blackjack to chat about the Infinite Madness. So the live Blitzball event that's happening over on Crystal will be live there. We are not live casting the event, but we will be talking about Infinite Madness because what we ain't is shoutcasters. So what we are though are unfunny comedians. That's so with that, as you know, when we reach 666 followers, myself and crew, of course Quentin and our producer Susan, will sit here and watch me run through Hades as much as possible. The game, not actual Hades.
No. Not as much as possible until you complete it.
I will complete it. I will finish Hades. I will escape hell. And when we reach 777 followers, again, all three of us will be wearing, we'll do a Kigurumi stream. It's going to be adorable. And, we're going to do it. And regardless of weather type, if it's going to be hot or cold, we will be wearing Kigurumi. So it
will be more often than 90 seconds every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So there will be Kigus. There's still time to take the Final Fantasy XIV survey that Susan created for a game she is making for Maelstrom Radio's 200th episode. That is so very close. Just
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Just do not tell myself or Quentin what's in there. But we have over 100 responses, and it's a game. It's Family Feud style, so that's why we need your responses. So, No. So, a cat. Oh, love it. I'm stealing that, Cass. So, yeah.
Or join our Discord at maelstromradio.com/discord. Views and opinions expressed by our hosts and guests do not reflect the views and opinions of any companies discussed on today's show.
That's never happened before.
No, hold on. I got the. Well, see, what we're going to do is redo it. See what had happened was I hit the wrong button, and apparently there's no auto stop once that starts, so
yeah.
can't kill it. I got You know what the magic is that for all of you not knowing, I'm an audiomancer, and that will definitely be fixed in post. So for now, thank you everybody for sticking around. So guys, gills, and non-binary fills, as always, till sea swallows all, keep listening.
Maelstrom Radio is brought to you by maelstromradio.com and Blackfire Media. Produced by Flatus, Shintir, and Susan Sprinkle. Join us live Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/maelstromradio. Send email to show@maelstromradio.com, tweet us at maelstrom_radio, or join our Discord at maelstromradio.com/discord. Views and opinions expressed by our hosts and guests do not reflect the views and opinions of any companies discussed on today's show.